Hey everyone, it's Matt Donahue with Mission Financial Planners, and this is your weekly market update for the week ending April 10th. I know we did our market late last week because we were waiting to see what was going to happen with Iran. We're getting one out early this week, and we'll stay on top of it for you for next week as well. But let's talk about the markets from last week. They didn't just drift. They kind of lurched around a little bit. They recalibrated in real time as investors were forced to really confront an uncomfortable reality, and that is that uncertainty today, at any rate, is not the exception, it's the baseline. We saw a convergence of forces that rarely occur all at the same time. Geopolitical flashpoints in the Middle East, disruption to one of the most critical energy corridors in the world, and here at home in the US, an economy that is still wrestling with inflation, growth, and fiscal stimulus. At the same time, millions of us are facing a much more immediate deadline, which is tax season. Taxes are due in 2 days, right? So that contrast matters. Global chaos on one hand, personal responsibility on the other. That's the environment we're in right now. So on the surface, markets look strong. Major indices were up, risk assets participated, but underneath it wasn't calm. And it was actually kind of tense. On one side, you have consumer strength, spending is holding up, tax refunds are expected to provide some support as well. But on the other side, you have a very real energy shock. Gas prices have surged above $4 a gallon. Oil is climbing, and it's all because of the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow passageway carries a massive portion of the world's oil and natural gas, and right now it's under pressure. Military actions have effectively constrained traffic, supply is disrupted, shipping costs are going up, and markets are trying to figure out what this means. The big question is this temporary or is this structural? If it's temporary, markets absorb it. If it persists, now you're talking about something much bigger, higher inflation, pressure on consumers, and a more difficult path for the Fed. That's why markets haven't collapsed. They're reacting, but they're not panicking. And that's because the outcome is still uncertain. If you're looking for a good resource on what's going on in Iran, I would suggest the Institute for the Study of War. They do a great job of making a real clear analysis of what's going on. And they'll also stress that the situation is fluid. There's no clean resolution, and there are a lot of different ways to move forward. Keep in mind, from an economic standpoint, it's not just about oil, fertilizer, agriculture, global shipping, all of it ties back to this region. So when disruption happens there, it cascades through the entire system. And that's how inflation ends up sticking around. It's not theoretical, it's just because a big bottleneck was created. At the same time, we've got fiscal stimulus trying to push the economy forward through higher tax refunds, but higher gas prices are pulling in the opposite direction. That's the tug of war. You've got momentum, and then you have resistance. So the result isn't collapse, it's friction. Now, in the middle of all that, it is worth stepping back and recognizing that we as Americans did something amazing last week, and that is the Artemis mission. Congratulations to NASA on a successful mission. That's a huge deal. At a time when the world feels uncertain, we just executed a mission designed to take humanity back to the moon. That's long-term thinking, that's discipline, that's execution over time. And it's a good lesson for us as investors, because while markets are reacting to global events, you still have decisions to make right now. Tax season is ending. And here's the reality with that. An extension gives you more time to file, but it doesn't give you more time to pay. And penalties do matter. Now, failing to file is far more expensive than failing to pay. So if you need an extension, tell your tax professional to get you an extension. But even if you can't pay everything, again, file. Okay, file. This isn't just tax advice, it's a principle. You're controlling what you can control. Because in environments like this, the temptation is always to react. It's to move to cash, it's to wait things out. But history tells us something very different. Markets have gone through war, energy shocks, financial crises, pandemics. Every time it feels unique, every time someone says, oh, this is different. And guess what? Every time discipline wins. The investors who succeed are not the ones who avoid volatility. They're the ones who are prepared for it. They have a plan, they stay invested, and they make decisions based on strategy, not headlines. That's what matters right now. You cannot control oil prices. You cannot control geopolitics, but you can control your behavior. You can file your taxes, you can review your plan, you can stay disciplined. And in the long run, that's what drives outcomes. So as we move forward, just consider this. The Middle East might stabilize or it might escalate. Energy markets might settle down or stay volatile. We don't know. But what we do know is this: uncertainty won't go away. So the goal is not to eliminate it, the goal is to manage it. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and remember, the most important balance sheet isn't the market. It's your balance sheet. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week. We will see you next week.